Hi, my name is Siva Manivannan. I'm a senior backend engineer at a company called Replicated, based right out here in Chicago. So I'm going to be talking to you about like things you can store in container registries that might not be container images. So here's a brief overview of the talk. We're going to talk a little bit about container registry because I notice a lot of people are not familiar with container registries, even though they use them on a daily basis. And we're going to talk about a tool called ORAS, which is going to help you facilitate the storage of artifacts, basically non-container image artifacts in container registries in a conformant way that's reproducible. And if the demo gods allow, we're going to do a live demo. I'm risking it. It's a 7-minute talk, but we're going to try it. All right? All right. So yes, you can store things that are not unrelated to containers and container registries. Thank you so much for attending the talk. I think we got the point. But people have been ever since the origin of container registries in 2015s, people have been abusing them, and that's because we want certain artifacts to follow our container and app images. So some of the things that people have been storing in container images include like subject bill of materials, binaries. Believe it or not, if you use either WASM or Homebrew, you're actually pulling some of those packages and binaries from container registries. Surprises a lot of people. Helm charts, Kubernetes manifests, and lately it's been like a lot of AI weights, model weights. So we have a couple of customers in our that use us that store like gigabytes of AI model weights that they want to ship on-prem in container registries. So just a brief overview. The way I like to think about container registries, I'm not going to go into too much detail. I'm not going to read you out the distribution spec. But the way I like to think about it is just a metadata and a blob store, and you interact with the container registry through a HTTP API. And blob is just a form of binary content. It's content addressable. That means you tell the container registry, I want this SHA. It'll give it to you back. Right, so that's the way to think about it, and it's a simple architecture, but it's really powerful in terms of when you think about like federation. Um, so all you basically, if you look at the distribution spec, all you need to do if you want to make your container registry, just implement these for I think like a little bit less than 20 endpoints. Notice none of these endpoints say anything about like Docker or containers, even though you might have you know domain objects like tags that are shared between both. But yeah, if you implement these close to 20 endpoints, you will have a container registry that either Docker or any other tools that interact with container registries can interact with. So I'll leave that as a homework assignment. Just a little bit of a review of kind of the namespacing, and I'm sure most of you are familiar. You have a kind of an endpoint, a domain that kind of where your container registry is based or your server is based, and you have a namespace as well as towards the end what we call an artifact. And what an artifact is, it basically points to metadata. And through one level of indirection, it points to a metadata called a manifest, which stores, so it's just a JSON document, and it stores basically the it stores the kind of the blobs that are associated with the content, and it just so happens, it's like this is what it looks like. In terms of this is what when you do like a Docker build and Docker push, this is what the metadata looks like. This is specifically for like say a container image. You have a config where you have some Docker environmental variables stored there, as well as the layers. And in this case, they represent the file system layers in a Docker container, and as well as some annotations. And these annotations are really cool. We'll come back to them a little bit later because you get to do some cool stuff with them. Okay, so what can we store? Let's store some images. Here's 2 images in a container registry. We got a pineapple and we got a landscape. How do we do it? We do there's a tool called ORAS. You can download it. It's been facilitating the storage of non-container images for quite some time. In this case, what we're doing, there's a command called ORAS-push, where we basically give it a fully qualified destination, as well as a artifact type, in this case a photo, and as well as a MIME type. We're storing a pineapple. And then we do an ORAS pull and we get the image back. So I'll do a really quick demonstration of that. So I'm in my folder. All you have to do is ORAS push. Let's do TTL. So this is actually a ephemeral container registry that Replicated runs. So you can push container images and they'll eventually get deleted. So you push that. So now if anybody has an ORAS client, if you go to that endpoint and you do an ORAS pull, you can pull that down. Yeah, pull that pineapple down. Okay, that's fun, right? So let's make it a little bit more fun. Okay, so listen, 1 minute talk. Let's sprinkle some AI. We're in 2024. We got to sprinkle some AI. So here's a really quick one. What we're going to do is there's a Docker Compose running in my background. It's running the distribution registry, the container registry, as well as a Go service. The registry is going to ingress on a webhook handler in the Go service, and it's going to reach out to OpenAI and Vision, and it's going to put some metadata about the pictures in the manifest. Let's try that. See if this works. Cross your fingers. I got 23. I'm going to get a ding. Okay, so first we're going to do a watch. We're going to watch on this, right? I already uploaded the photos. Here's the manifest. Kind of looks like the Docker image. You have the artifacts and you have 2 images, right? And we're going to do we're going to do a push. Let's make sure. Annotation. I'm going to trigger the webhook. Give it some time. So the webhook's going. We should see a description come up. Come on, OpenAPI. Oh, OpenAI. It's coming. It's coming. What's wrong? There it is. There you go. There's the image. Pineapple. So what's great is okay, you have this common interface. So you can transfer between container registries. You can move from your local registry to GCR or anywhere. But that's it for me. Thank you so much. And here are some links. If you want to check out the webhook yourself, I'll send out a link. Thank you so much.